Oh,
Welcome everybody to 2025 USAPL Raw Nationals. We are here on day 3, and we are going to be bringing you the 100 kilo and 110 kilo men's classes. Oh, do you have the non-feedback one?
did you not hear anything in yours before?
You have that one? Yeah, one of them doesn't have stuff.
All right, bar is loaded for these lifters. We are back and ready for session 2 of day 3 of Raw Nationals down here in Atlanta. On this stream, we have platform 3 and platform 4. And today will be the 100 kilo and 110 kilo male lifters. On platform 4, we have Britt opening up with 145 kilos and Brian with 195, both of us starting the day out for us strong. My name is Katie DeGuider, and I am here with my co-host,
Tong Hung. We're very excited for a good day of lifting. I think on platform 4 there, you're going to see Britt missed on depth. It's a little hard when you're getting into a meet, trying to make sure that you're squatting to the right depth, to the quality of the judges' standards. But he's going to get 2 more chances to get something on the board there.
That is something that can typically be a pretty easy fix for lifters. Once they know that they just need to go a little bit lower and they get that feedback back from the judges, they can come back for that second attempt, whether they choose to retake the weight or stick to the plan and go up if they know they just need to sink it a little bit lower. So I'm sure Britt will be able to come back strong for that second attempt.
Well, decent squat for Travis there on platform 3. Starting well, 3 white lights.
All right, and if you guys want to, go ahead and follow along with us as well on LiftingCast. You can see the attempts that lifters are putting in. You can see if the lifts were good and their attempts that they're putting in. We might reference the attempts that lifters are putting in after the current attempts. So if anyone wants to follow along, go ahead and look up liftingcast.com. And you can click on USA Powerlifting Raw Nationals Day 3.
Joseph with a very controlled descent. Right, lights. He got a blue card there.
I would like to go ahead and point out, we have Shane Harrison competing with us. He is our only adaptive power lifter that is competing with us today. And I'm really excited to see what he will put out for a total for us today.
A good lift for Frank on platform 3. We've got John Mack on platform 3 and Gregory on platform 4. These guys are moving pretty quick right now. We're already getting through about 5 attempts, so almost halfway through our flights.
All right, and as we saw earlier, we did already have a squat miss on depth. We want to kind of go over what some of these common squat infractions might look like. You know, to a lot of viewers, if the person squats down and stands back up, that's a good lift to them. But there's a lot of smaller rules that lifters are going to have to follow. So, Tong, obviously depth is going to be one of the most common squat infractions, but what are some of the other ones that people can commonly miss a lift for? Common squat infractions.
As you stated there, Katie, the depth is going to be the most common one. But otherwise, when a lifter is grinding a lift, one thing that can come into play is a lifter, having a little bit of trouble with the bar and the bar coming up and down. Now, as far as the pure execution of the lift, sometimes athletes will actually struggle to, maintain an upright position or lock out their knees before the start of the lift and at the end of the lift. And then the big one, obviously, is going to be commands. Lifters are prompted to follow 2 commands by the referee, which is the initial squat command and then the rack command. A lot of times in excitement, lifters will miss either they'll jump the squat command or they'll jump the rack command, and it can be pretty heartbreaking to miss in that manner.
Yeah, especially. Yeah, and so when these refs are looking to give either that squat or that rack command, there's a couple things they're looking for as well for that proper starting position. So lifters need to have their knees fully locked out in an upright position. They need to have their hands, their 4 fingers in contact with and wrapped around the bar. And then they need to just have their feet solidly planted into the ground. Once the refs believe that they're in a good start position, that's when they're going to get that squat command. There is another command. Lifters could get told to replace the bar. Hopefully we don't see any of that today, but if a lifter does not get themselves into a proper starting position, we might see some of that. This is pretty common if lifters are starting and their knees aren't fully locked out, if their grip on the bar isn't right. We might hear a replace command. So if a lifter is pushed back into the rack before they actually start, that might be what it is. We've got Gino making an appearance on platform 4 in front of the camera. But after the lifter gets that start command, they're free to squat down, stand back up, and then once they've returned to that proper positioning, they lock out their legs, they will then get the rack command. Then and only then can they walk into the bar. If they do it any sooner, unfortunately, it would be a no lift, like Tong said. But the good thing about a nationals meet is all of these lifters have qualified at a meet before. So hopefully a lot of these people are coming in here with good amount of experience. They know these commands, they know what depth is, they know what they're doing. So hopefully we can just watch these lifters crush some big weight and not get too worried about some of the smaller infractions.
Absolutely, Katie. We've got Tyler on platform 3, about halfway through our first squats here in this session. And we've got Kevin coming out on platform 4. All right, Katie, we've seen here, we already have a couple misses. Most of these lifters are electing to repeat their initial attempts, and we have one lifter going up. What's going on in your mind if you come out for your opening squat and you miss on a technicality?
Yeah, so it can definitely be a bold move to try and go up in weight after you miss on that opening attempt. So unfortunately, I've seen this happen too many times where, say, a lifter misses on depth the first time. They think, oh, I just need to go a little bit lower. I'm still good to go up in weight. They go up on weight. Say they either miss on depth again, or it's a really hard squat and they fail either on strength or on something else. These lifters, they need at least one squat to post a total for this meet. They can continue in the competition, but they won't be able to place. And so it's a very risky move to try and go up again in weight if you don't get that first squat. So as a coach myself, and Tong, I know you are as well, I will typically almost always opt for retaking an opener, maybe going up just a little bit, but it's always best to just play safe, get a squat on the board, and then you can make a bigger jump from there.
Absolutely. Especially after months of training, I mean, these lifters, they're going to be weighing their options. You don't want to get too derailed from your plan, but also you want to make sure that you do put up a total. And sometimes when you show up, I mean, it's not what you expect, and you just have to adjust as an athlete. Got a good squat by Jack on platform 3.
It's very easy to get caught up in the moment and thinking that if you have to retake a lift, it's going to derail your plan. You're going to lose some on your total, but you're going to lose a lot more on your total if you don't get one because you don't get a squat. Jimmy is getting set up for his opener, 275, and Kyle is finishing out his flight openers with 215.
Jimmy with our first 600-pound squat of the day as an opener.
Yeah, let's see how he can move this.
So let's see if that was deep enough.
Moved it very fast. He did get 1 card for depth, so that is still a good lift. A 2-to-1 means that if there's 2 white lights, that is still a good lift. If I were him right now, I would be keeping that depth call in mind going forward, because if he were to cut that any higher at all, he would potentially be missing out on another attempt on squat. But he still got that first attempt on the board, and he's good to go from there.
And we've got our last opening squat here with Ronald on platform 3. And we're back at the top on platform 4.
Yeah, so Britt was one of our lifters who missed on depth on his first attempt, and he actually decided to go up by 15 kilos. That is almost a 30 to 35 pound jump. So let's see if he's able to get depth on this one.
I'm not sure that was more convincing than his opener. We'll see what the refs think.
Unfortunately, still not quite deep enough. Hopefully, he's able to just stay at 160, because that squat did look like it was a little bit harder. So if I were him, I would opt to retake that weight, sink it as low as you can, and then just try and grind that way up. And it looks like that is exactly what he's doing. We just saw his 3rd attempt put in, and he'll be retaking that 160. Still got 1 more attempt to go at it.
Got Jonas with a good squat on platform 4 and a good squat by Brian on platform 3.
All right, and we are now into 2nd attempts on both platforms. Joseph has 215 kilos. Gregory has 180 kilos. Both lifters are coming out, getting ready.
And one thing you guys are going to notice here at home is on both of our screens here on both of these platforms, we've got an array of different age lifters. We've got anywhere from teen lifters to some of our older Masters 3, Master 4 lifters. At any point, you can see decades in between the 2 lifters on your screen. It really goes to showcase the amount of lifters that we have here at USAPL Raw Nationals.
Yeah, and with these Masters and teen divisions, just to point out the actual ages that these correlate to, Masters 1 lifters would be lifters that are in their 40s, so 40 to 49. Masters 2 would be 50 to 59, Masters 3, 60 to 69, and then Masters 4, 70 to 79. I'm not sure if we have any Masters 5 lifters today, but that would be the next 10 years up. And so just keep that in mind as we see some of these lifters coming out, that we're seeing lifters today in their 50s, 60s, 70s still out here crushing these numbers.
And a bit too heavy for Travis there on platform 3. I'm not sure if he felt like he lost a little balance. Took quite a big jump after his opener. I mean, that's 17.5 kilo jumps. We're going to see how he approaches his 3rd squat here. And we've got John on platform 3. Again, missed that opener. I don't quite remember what that was on. Let me pull that up for you on our LiftingCast. Okay, so it looks like he had 2 infractions for depth from the side and the center and the side ref. And he also got a blue card. I'm gonna assume maybe he had a little issue locking out his squat at the end. If he was struggling, perhaps a little up and down. I don't remember him struggling to complete the actual lift. But we're gonna see how he approaches it here.
Makes it look easy, and 2-to-1, good lift. He did get that 1 depth card, but 2 white lights is a good lift. And like Tong said, he did get a blue card, and a blue card can mean a couple different things. If you see those lights come on, there's going to be a little box underneath them. So in the squat, a red card will always correlate to depth, meaning the lifter did not squat deep enough. A blue card could mean that they didn't lock out their knees or that there's a little bit of downward motion. And then a yellow card could be a lot of different things. It's kind of a catch-all for any other smaller infraction the lifter could have made.
And we've got Michael coming back for 185 on his second. And a nice second for James.
3 white lights, good lift for James.
Very smooth there for Michael. Let's see what the referees think. 3 white lights.
Joseph is walking out 240 kilos on his back while Mike is unracking 190. Both move very nicely. Let's see what the refs say.
Good. 3 white lights. All right, we have Matthew coming up here on your left screen. Sorry, we've got Brandon. Now, Brandon is actually the owner and proprietor of Basement Barbell, one of our presenting sponsors here. Been a longtime member of the powerlifting community and the USAPL community. He's got a great YouTube channel, showcasing his home gym and different lifting resources. He's going to take 242.5 here.
It's really great to just see how involved some people are, not only in sponsoring, providing information, and they're still competing and just enjoying the sport on top of that.
Bit sticky there. Shaking his head. He's not too happy about that, but he did get the attempt.
And then
maybe a little bit more room for a little more room there. And we've got Michael on platform 4.
So he missed 202.5 for his first attempt. We'll see what they say about this retake. Waiting on those lights there. And it's a good lift. So it looks like just about everyone who missed a squat on their first attempt has gotten it on their second. Got one person that still needs to get a squat, but looking good for most of these lifters so far.
We've got Matthew here on platform 3. His initial squat looks strong. Let's see if he can just lock this in the eyes of the judges. Looked a lot more convincing.
That looked very nice. I believe it was a depth issue, which he did not seem to have here. So once again, he got a squat on the board as well and will likely be making that jump up to his third.
We are back to having above or right under 600 pounds here on platform 3.
Rob is grinding out his second attempt.
Yeah, that's a great attempt by Rob.
And he gets that lift with 1 card for depth. And it looked hard, so I'm not sure how much more he'll have in him, but I'm sure he'll make at least that 5-10 pound jump from there.
And the next 4 squats on platform 3 are going to be above 600 pounds. We have Jack coming out to 606 pounds, 275 kilograms. Oh, great squat by Jack. 3 white lights.
And we're seeing some pretty big jump sizes from first to second attempts, possibly the third attempts. Now, Tong, as a coach, what's typically going through your mind when you're helping your athlete choose what to exactly jump for? You know, you've got that game plan that you make out before, but what's going through your head day of?
So on the day, well, tough fail there by Isaiah on platform 3. On the day, I mean, we're really going to be seeing, you know, is the game plan that we set forth, is that valid? Are the things that we expected to happen happening? You know, obviously that's going to come through with how fast the opener's moving, but also as well as how the athlete is feeling. You know, a lot of these athletes are using different peaking strategies, different training methods, you know, to get ready for this meet. If you show up on the day and it's not what you expect, you have to adjust. Sometimes, you know, on the opposite end, it can be a lot better, and you just have to gauge, you know, how well your athlete's moving and how well they feel under the bar.
And I'm sure that's exactly what's going through some of these minds of some of these coaches of the lifters. All right, we're back to end of second attempts on platform 4. Kyle is squatting 230 to close out his platform second attempts.
Yeah, and Jimmy gets called there for depth on platform 3. Exactly what Katie was saying earlier. When you have that, you know, that one depth call and you still get the lift, you have to take that as information that you are on the borderline and make good decisions off that. And so we're going to see here, I mean, that squat moved well. There's definitely room for more, but, you know, does he feel confident he can give that extra few centimeters to, you know, pass in front of the judges?
All right, Britt is coming out. He took 145 for his opener and missed it on depth, went up 15 kilos, missed on depth again, and is now retaking that weight. So if he wants to post a total for this meet, he needs to get this squat. So all the pressure is on him right now in his head. Just got to squat a little bit deeper to get that squat. I'm not sure. We'll see what the judges say about that. Unfortunately, that is a no lift for him. I think all of his squats looked about the same height to me, which is very unfortunate, but you know, we don't know what was going on behind the scenes as to why he wasn't able to squat that deep, but he is able to continue on in the meet if he wants to continue to bench and deadlift. He is able to, he just will not be able to get a total for the meet.
And we've got Jonas on platform 4 and Travis on platform 3. Exactly what we were talking about earlier about the age difference. Jonas is a teen 1 lifter, which means he's 14, 15 years old.
A little bit
a good lift.
Unbalanced in the bottom, but it looks like he locks it out.
Got 3 white lights.
He's having a good day so far, 3 for 3. All right, and now Gregory will be coming out. He missed 180 on his second attempt. I believe it was a depth call. He decided to go up 2.5 kilos, sink it a little bit deeper. And Brian locks out his third attempt. Let's see if Gregory can get this.
Gregory stands up. We're going to see if that passes. 2 white lights, that's a good lift.
Yeah, 1 depth call, but 2 whites is all you need.
Got Joseph on platform 3, looking to go 3 for 3 here with 225 on his back.
Tommy also took 182.
Joseph's fighting. He's fighting.
He locks it out.
3 white lights.
That's got to be a good feeling. Going 3 for 3 so far, setting yourself up really good for the day. We'll see if Tommy gets, unfortunately, that was a no lift again on depth. He did still get his opener, so he's got a squat on the board. He can get a total, but it is only that 165. All right, and then John retook his opener for a second attempt and moved it very well and is now making a good sized jump to 235 from there. hopefully trying to make up some of those kilos he might have lost out on from missing that opener.
And we've got Shane on platform 4, looking to go 3 for 3 here as well. It's good. That looks plenty good.
And that's a good lift for John. All right, we're about halfway through third attempts already. Mike is coming out to 195. And then James has 245 on his back right now.
Yeah, both of these guys having really good squat sessions so far.
Both of them are rocking an A7 singlet as well, one of our presenting sponsors for the meet.
It's a perfect call for James.
And both lifters get 3 white lights.
Yeah, seeing a lot of green on our board here so far. Joseph as well, having a really good session. Oh yeah, and he's excited for this one.
All right, he's getting locked in, walking it out, waiting for that start command. Unfortunately, that 5 kilo jump might have just been a little bit too much for him.
Yeah, it looked like he lost a little balance there. Luckily, only a 5 kilo jump, as you said.
And in powerlifting, unless it happens to be an American record or a world record, the smallest increments you can make are 2.5 kilos. So especially when we get to bench, we might see people are going to make some 2.5 kilo jumps between attempts. And that is the smallest amount that they are able to make.
Got Brandon of Basement Barbell here. He's fighting.
Oh.
Yeah, had that tough second attempt. Still elected to go up 7.5 kilos. Just some of these taller lifters, I mean, just getting to the last little bit right there is going to be the sticking point. That's where it's going to be hard for them to complete the lift. All right, we've got Matthew here. So what you're going to see, he took a 12.5 kilo jump after retaking his opening attempt. A lot of times, you know, depending on what the initial plan was, if they have that little hiccup of an opener, a lot of lifters kind of elect to take a bridge attempt. So that's going to be a number that is somewhere closer to the second attempt, maybe a little higher. That way they can kind of, you know, leave with something closer to their original plan third. And Rob is, dare I say, he's cooking.
He fought for that third attempt, and he got it. 3 white lights. And it looks like that was a good choice for Matthew. We'll see what the refs say in terms of depth. And he cleared that. So I'm sure he's walking away, maybe not exactly what he wanted in terms of his top end for squat, but he's still got a solid number to go into bench and deadlifts with.
And while it is a cliche, I mean, it really is how you finish here. You've got 6 more lifts after these squats. Going to bench on a high note, I mean, that can do a lot for morale and momentum. We've got Isaiah on platform 3. Looked like he lost a little bit of balance working through his second attempt. They're going to see if he can approach us a little better here. Oh my goodness.
It looked like he was about to get stuck, but he just grinded right through it. 3 white lights, and he is pumped after that.
Oh yeah, he is hyped.
Now, Isaiah was someone that failed on depth on his second attempt, right?
I believe he had what you would call a misgroove. He just
failed on
lost
strength.
balance.
That is quite a lift to come back from, especially on squat. Tyler was not able to lock out that third squat. Very unfortunate, but he did still get his first 2 attempts.
We've got Jack coming up here on platform 3. They're getting the bar ready for him, as well as Marcus on platform 4.
All right, those spotters are getting Marcus hyped up for this 240 kilo squat. And now Marcus is a high bar squatter, as you can kind of tell that difference between Jack and Marcus where the bar is on him. Not as common to see here, but obviously works for him.
Oh, Jack is fighting.
And they both lock it out.
I think that's good.
3 white lights.
All right, we are on to our last squat here on platform 4 and our last 2 on platform 3.
All right, and so Jimmy missed his second attempt on depth. He got 1 depth card on his first, missed that second on depth, and is now opting to retake it. Just needs to sink it a little bit lower. He already did this weight once. He just needs to do it 1 more time.
And I move well too. I mean, he should have the confidence to, know that he's got the strength for it. Just needs to be a little bit deeper.
Exactly, and if he doesn't get this, he'll be missing out on 15 kilos from that jump he made. All right, Kyle is closing out squats for this flight with 240 kilos.
We'll
That
see
looked
here.
a little better to me from Jimmy. We'll see.
Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately, 2 red cards will be a no lift for him. He did still get that opening attempt.
Yeah, it can be a bit tough when you have that wide squat stance, to find the right set point for your hips. I mean, there's a lot more lifting for him to do.
All right, and we have 2 flights for these platforms, so we are moving right into flight number 2. Starting off with Steve, we'll be opening it out at 85 kilos.
And we've got Ronald closing out platform 3 here with 683 pounds on the bar.
All right, he's had a good day so far. 2 for 2 on squats. Let's see if he can make that 3.
Oh my gosh.
He grinded through it. We'll see what the refs say.
3 white lights.
That's a good lift for him. One of the few lifters on this platform to go 3 for 3 on squats. I'm sure that's gotta feel good.
And like platform 4, we are going to get underway with flight D on platform 3. We've got David opening us up here.
Very smooth attempt from David. Really no doubts about depth in a squat like that. In a competition like this, you want to make everything as undeniable as you can so that you don't even have to worry about what the refs are going to say in terms of depth. Some people like to maybe push it a little bit, to load a little bit more, but especially when you get to a national level platform with very experienced national and international level referees, they have seen hundreds and hundreds of squats, and if it looks a little high, they will call it.
And regardless of if you decide to, push the limits of what you can get away with depth-wise, or just be as undeniable as possible, you want to come in prepared, for any outcome. Make sure that's the way you're training, and be ready to adjust. We've got Rob on platform 4. One of our taller lifters here today. Makes light work of 190.
He gets 2 white lights. It
It's
looks
a
like he
blue
had
card from the center ref.
could have been for his knees not being fully locked out either in the start or ending position.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I can speculate there for Rob, he is wearing those stiff sleeves. A lot of these knee sleeves that these guys are using, they're, you know, made to support the athletes. Different companies have started using, you know, different cone designs with different materials. Sometimes it can be a little harder for these guys to, you know, just make sure to remember to, hey, lock out your knees before and after. But again, very easy thing to correct.
And luckily for him, he still got that attempt. So, you know, a 2-to-1 lift with 1 red card should never be ignored. I always tell athletes that if you do get a red card, figure out what it's for, adjust, don't just brush it off. So like for Mario, he got 1 red card for depth. So if I were him, I would take that into consideration and make sure that that second attempt is just a little bit lower, because even one ref giving a card for depth could honestly, not intentionally, but it could flag depth for maybe some of the other refs.
Absolutely. When you're at a meet like these, like this, I mean, all of these little things, they're signals. So you got to take that into account. We've got Jamel on platform 3, getting excited for his lift here with 212.5 kilos.
Mario has a good opening attempt of 240.
Got Bob on platform 4.
Bob's
some
got
cool knee sleeves.
That's exactly what I was going to comment. They match his shoes as well.
And a good squat to boot.
We're just waiting on that third light for Bob. He gets that good lift, 3 white lights.
We've got Tyrus here, opening at 215 kilos. Easy enough.
And then we've got Gabriel with 247.5 on his opener.
Gabriel might be the tallest lifter we have here. He is towering over the spotters and loaders. That does not stop him from having a good squat though, folks.
All right, and then we've got John Ford opening up with 215. A little bit sticky, but depth looked good. And the refs agree, good lift. You know, everyone has a different game plan. If you want to take your opener a little bit heavier and make smaller jumps from there versus having an opener that you make fly and make big jumps from there, as long as you can get at least one of those on the board, you're set up for a good day. I always say an opener for any lift should be something you can hit any day of the week without problem, because even if you show up not feeling strong and you're just not feeling good, that opener should be something, even if it's hard, you'll be able to hit. And both of these guys display that, very fast openers.
Yeah, almost in a sense, I mean, you know, if you poll all the lifters here, I mean, I think most people would say the most nerve-wracking lift is that opening squat. You know, it's the one that people are visualizing and thinking about all week. But as soon as you get a squat in the game, I mean, you're in the meat. And so in a lot of ways, I mean, people have resorted to using that opening squat almost like a warm-up, you know, physically and mentally. Just get yourself in the meat, make sure everything's moving all right, and build upon some confidence.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's a lot of hiccups that can come up with the first squat. I've seen so many lifters, you know, they forget their belt, they forget commands. I myself forgot how to put on my belt when I'm walking out for my squat opener, so making sure that that lift especially is something that you can get, because once you see that first set of white lights, you know, majority of those nerves go away.
You'll see there Michael did get flagged. Very, very explosive squat, just a little bit bouncy. Needs to let himself settle and lock out his knees. But we are taking a big jump here, folks, on platform 4. We have Joffy Perez with 322.5 kilos as his opener.
This is 718 pounds, and he is a junior lifter. And this is just his opener, guys. He's just getting started. Timer's going for him. He's getting ready to come out onto the platform.
Oh, he's got the shades on. He's feeling himself. So, very strong walkout.
A little bit sticky there, but he locks it out. We'll see what the refs say about that. And that is a good lift.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, how much he goes up after that.
All right, and then closing out third attempts on platform 3 is Derek Williams with 255 kilos on the bar.
We've got Steve on platform 4, taking that 2.5 kilo jump after his opener. Now, one thing that you guys can reflect on at home, regardless if you have LiftingCast or not, these sort of jumps that these athletes are making, that is an indicator of how well they're feeling. Sometimes you might see a lifter say, hey, that was a good squat. They might, take a big attempt, but they know how they feel under the bar. They know how hard it was for them. And so you can just kind of get, a glimpse into the mind of the lifter here. So Steve only taking 2.5. That's our minimum increment. Let's see how he does. Okay, a little bit of trouble there. He's going to get flagged for up and down.
But he still was able to lock it out, and so that might be something that, he could have just lost a little balance, been a little off in the head, but he'll be able to retake that for his third attempt if he would like to.
And we got Jeff on platform 3. There you go, controlled descent into the hole, and I think that'll be a good squat.
All right, and then taking a look at the LiftingCast, even though Steve did miss that attempt for up and down motion, he decided to make another 2.5 jump, so maybe he knows what that issue was and thinks that he's able to fix it and come back out to hit another 5 pounds heavier.
Yeah, it definitely looked like he lost a little bit of balance there, so just giving a little more attention to that walkout, making sure his feet are set, and I think he should be good to go.
Mike locks out 160 for his second attempt. 2 white lights is good enough for a good lift for him.
Got David here, rocking the all black.
Slow but steady 220 kilo squat. That will be a good lift. And in this fight, we had everyone make their openers. So no worries about people getting a squat on the board. Everyone is good for that so far.
Got a great lift there by Jacob. Got Sean taking 220 kilos here on platform 3.
Looks like he's rocking that all Pioneer fit.
And he's up as well.
And Pioneer is actually one of our other sponsors, making some of the best belts in the world.
Got Andy on platform 4.
Almost a little bit of a pause in the bottom for Andy. Looks like he's trying to make sure that that depth is undeniable, and it worked. He got 3 white lights for that second attempt.
We've got Cole on platform 3, 220 kilos on the bar and some colorful socks. Oh yeah, that's a good squat. Let's see what the refs think here. Yep, that's a good lift. One thing to note, folks, is that this camera is not reflective of what the referees are seeing. Sometimes you're going to see a lift and think that, hey, that was good, they hit depth, you know, all the right marks, but you know, the referees have a different position than we do. And, you know, like any other sport, it is a game of centimeters and inches. Sometimes, you know, a lifter is just, you know, barely over. We've got Jamela again, getting really high for this 500-pound squat here. Oh, wow.
That moved fast. Looks like that setup works for him. And like Tong was saying before, if some of the viewers don't know, there are 3 refs per platform in a competition like this, with a jury overwatching as well. So what this means is that there is a head ref in the center that is giving those commands, 2 refs on each side that can move their chair around to get the best angle, specifically on squat. You know, they're getting that best possible angle to view that depth that they can. There also are, like I said, a jury watching over, so that if a lift is maybe marked no lift, the lifter has an option to overturn a lift if they believe that it was good. The jury can also possibly overturn a good lift to bad if they're watching and they think that it was something was a little bit off in the reffing. And we got Mario, 257.5 on the bar. He's one of our Masters 2 lifters.
We got Tyrus here on platform 3, 232.5. Go. Just taking a second to find his footing there. Athletes have the entire minute on the platform to make sure they're set up well. As long as you get the squat command at any point in that 1 minute, you are good to perform your lift. Yeah, perfect example there. It's 2 white lights. It's a good lift. I mean, Mario just took a second to, you know, make sure he's feeling comfortable and set up after a shaky walkout. At a meet like this, you got to take the extra time to compose yourself. No one here is trying to rush you. It's on your time when you get that minute. And make sure you use all of it if you have to.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, don't rush yourself, but it can kind of be a give and take of, you know, making sure that you give yourself enough time to where if something is wrong in your setup and you get that replace command, that's on you to make sure that you have time to do that in your 1 minute. So I've unfortunately seen lifters, you know, really take their time walking out, setting up, unracking, and say they didn't fully lock out their knees and they get that replaced, they might run out of time to get that start command. So kind of playing the game of not rushing yourself, but still giving yourself time in case something does happen like that.
And a depth call there for Gabriel. Again, just that wide squat, you know, it can be pretty deceptive as far as how deep they're getting from the front. He's got plenty of strength though. I mean, that moved. I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to go up after that. But we're going to see though, because he took a big jump already. And so assuming he, you know, repeats that weight and misses it on his 3rd, I mean, that's a big loss of kilos. But I think if he trusts himself, I mean, there's an opportunity to go up if him and the coach feel that way. Yeah, Robert's looking ready on platform 3. See there, we'll see if that was deep enough. Referees think it's good.
Simon has a very smooth second attempt after a big jump from his opener. I'm sure he's got a lot more left in him for his 3rd attempt. all good lifts on platform 3 so far, and we're almost done with second attempts. That is a really good sign that I do not think I've seen in this meet so far.
Yeah, we're seeing some quality lifting right now, folks. Okay, we've got Derek loaded up here on platform 3. Now, what I'm assuming is happening here is, you know, some sort of issue perhaps after that first squat. Maybe he didn't feel right, or maybe it was a bit tough, and he looks like he's elected to just, you know, let the timer run. Now, when you decide to not go out for an attempt, you have two options. So you can do what Derek did here, which is to put in an attempt number and let the timer run, or you can scratch. One big reason why some people will let the timer continue to run is that, you know, at a pace like this in a meet, giving your competitors, you know, the extra minute to rest. I mean, it's a big act of sportsmanship, and so that's what we just saw there.
All right. Perez took 322.5 for his opener and decided to jump up to 335. Might look like a big jump to some people when you take in consideration, might have been a little bit too big of a jump on the day for him. He still got that third attempt to come back for that 335 for him. As I was starting to say though, it might look like a big jump to some people, but when you take into consideration the percentage that the jump is towards what their squat is, it might not be that out of reach sometimes. Might have been a little bit too far out of reach for him. You know, we don't know if he just isn't feeling as strong, if he had to cut and was having trouble recomping. Anything like that could have gone into this.
Yeah, definitely a lot of factors. Again, as we mentioned earlier, you know, different training styles as well. It's hard to predict, you know, exactly what's going to happen on meet day, but you have to adjust. And it looks like they're just going to retake that 335. So we'll see him here at the end of this flight again.
All right, so Steve missed his second attempt on some up and down motion, decided to still go up 5 pounds, and we'll see if he's able to fix that. Oh, and he makes it look easy. Like we said, could have just been a simple balance issue on that second attempt, but he gets it 2-1, and he's able to finish out with that 90-kilo squat.
All right, we've got the bar loaded here for David on platform 3. 227.5 kilos, that's 501 pounds. We've got Big Mike on platform 4.
And we are also into the third attempts on both platforms, making great time. A slow but steady third attempt from Mike.
Wow.
Unfortunately, did not squat low enough. 2 red cards from the side refs. But we've got a good lift over there from David on platform 3.
We've got Andy here on platform 4, 205 kilos. And we've got 501 pounds again on platform 3. Oh, Andy makes light work of that. 2 white lights, that's a good lift. Sean with 230 kilos. Just knew right at the bottom he didn't have that one. Good catch by the spotters and loaders.
Yeah, sometimes it can be better. If you can tell you're not going to get a squat out, it can be better to save that energy for the future lifts, not grind just to fail. So it looks like that might have been the choice he made.
Yeah, it's a long day, a lot of competition to go. If you know you don't have that lift, I mean, letting yourself fail easily, letting the spotters and loaders grab it immediately, that can be, you know, not necessarily a strategy, but it can save you a little bit when it comes to, you know, not using up your back and other muscles for bench and deadlift. Got Robert, platform 4. Oh, he's fighting for it.
210 kilo, 220. He gets it. He got a yellow card. I'm not exactly sure what for, but 2 white lights is all he needs. $237.5 is on Tyrus's back. And he's going.
What a fight. We'll see what the refs think. 2 white lights. It's a good lift.
Another yellow card. Not sure what that one was for.
I believe that is a red card.
Sorry, yeah, that was a red card for depth.
Bob comes back to grab this squat. Let's see what the referees think. That looks good to me.
He did still get that opener, so he does have a squat for the day.
We've got Mario coming out for 267.5 kilos here on platform 4. And the bar is loaded for Jamel on platform 3.
All right, let's see if Jamel gets just as hyped for this squat.
Yeah, taking another clean 15 kilo jump.
All right, Mario is under the bar. Gets that squat command.
Smooth third.
Very nice third for Jamel. Didn't look like there's any question on depth there for him. And yeah, he gets the 3 white lights and he's pumped.
And we've got Gabriel here, 280 kilos. Missed that second attempt on depth, but again, very easy attempt. Elects to take 5 more. Hopefully that extra, 10 pounds, I can help him squat a little deeper. Craig fights to his third. Your white lights.
Let's see if Gabriel can get the same on this squat. Looks like it was a little bit lower than a second, but let's wait and see.
Good.
2-1. Robert has got 265.
Got Robert, 265 kilos. I think that was a good lift. Yes, it was. Gives a heart to the crowd.
All right. Simon, one of our junior lifters for the day, is coming out to 292.5 for his third attempt.
Oh my goodness.
That was quite an easy third attempt. Good lift. One red card for depth, but still a good lift even with that.
Steven over 265. That's a little bit too much on the day.
All right, so up next on platform 3, we have Derek. We saw that Derek timed out his second attempt, and then he went up to 275 kilos. So just speculating here, the lifters each have 1 minute to put in their next attempt after they finish the first one. If they don't get that attempt in, they will automatically go up by 2.5 kilos. Again, my speculation is that he might have missed that 1 minute and got that attempt put in for him. Perhaps timed out that second attempt, could have taken a planned second attempt in the warm-up room so that he could come out to this 275 like he's doing right now. So the pressure is on for Derek right now because he only has that first attempt and made that massive 20-kilo jump from there. So if he doesn't get this, he'll be missing out on 20 kilos towards his total. Let's see if he's able to move this.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. Looks like that weight was chill for him. All right, the crowd is making some noise for him in his 335-kilo squat. He missed this on his second attempt, but he's back out for it. Let's see if he can get it.
Oh, he's up! He's up! Let's see what the referees think. Good!
Oh, that is a good lift.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a 10-minute intermission as soon as the spotters and loaders set up the platform for bench, and then we will be back with the action.
Get access to world-class coaching in real time from anywhere. Whether in a small group setting or one-on-one, our coaches are in your ear during your training sessions, watching every rep and correcting every mistake.
All right. Our 10-minute timer is up on both of our platforms. Bar has already been called loaded for Shane Harrison, and he is getting set up for that 77.5 kilos. Shane Harrison is our adaptive athlete today, so I'm intrigued to see how his attempts will play out today. So he actually is in a category of his own, so he's not competing against any of the other open or junior lifters today. He's, as you can see on that screen behind him, it says men's raw adaptive athlete. So he's just here showing up and showing out at Raw Nationals. Then we've got Brandon Diamond. So we've got a little bit of a typo there. Brandon Diamond is benching, but he is benching 130 kilos for his bench opener.
Yeah, give us 1 second to fix that. But to what Katie was saying earlier, the adaptive athlete division, that is for our competitors and members of USAPL with a disability of some sort that inhibits, their movement or performance. And so that is a division that, just allows us to be more inclusive as far as allowing everybody to compete at a, high level. And we are very happy to see him here today.
All right, and it was good lifts for both of those athletes starting us out.
Okay, I believe so. Britt on platform 4, he unfortunately bombed out during squats. Now, some lifters, after they bomb out, they are still able to, come out and compete amongst the lifts. They just can't register a total. But, for some people, they do take that as their day being over. And, that's on every athlete individually. And so I'm not sure if Britt is going to be here during this session moving forward. Now, as you guys are probably noticing by, just the lack of background noise and the poise that these lifters are approaching the platform with, there is a big difference in the amount of energy and hype, you could say, the pace coming out for bench as compared to squat. Katie, can you explain why some of these lifters are a little bit more reserved?
Yeah, so, a lot more can sometimes go into bench. It's not exactly, some people might not get as hyped themselves if it's maybe not their favorite lift. I know some other people, a bench can be a pretty technical lift, and so people might need to be a little bit more focused during this time. A lot of people opt to not do, say, like smelling salts, get too hyped before bench just because they really need to focus in and hone in on their technique. And then, Tom, what would you say goes into some of this bench technique?
Well, for the most part, it's going to play around the different rules of powerlifting, right? So in the USAPL, these lifters have to maintain at least, point of contact with their feet firmly on the ground, flat, their butt on the bench, as well as their upper back. And then after that, there is a pause element. So a referee is going to prompt them to complete a press. So when a bar becomes motionless on their chest, they will become prompted to press the barbell. And depending on a person's anatomy, there's going to be a lot of different ways that people are going to approach this lift. You're going to see a lot of these lifters, we'll see here with Joseph how he approaches it, but a bit of a sink into the chest, right? Get a little bit of a spring off the chest. Other people will opt for a softer touch, just electing for a little bit more consistent control and hopefully a better call from a referee.
Yeah, and what they're waiting for in that pause, that head ref is giving 3 commands this time for the bench. Those 3 commands are start, press, and rack. So some people think that a press command is a certain amount of time. People might say it's 1 second, half a second, 2 seconds. But what it actually is they're waiting until that bar is stable. And if anyone was here when we first started, I talked about how some lifters might receive a replace command if they're not in a proper starting position. That looks like what Michael got. I didn't get a good look. I think his elbow wasn't fully locked out, and he's probably talking to the refs if he is maybe not able to fully lock out his elbow. But what that means is that none of the refs thought that he was in a good starting position, and so instead of saying that start command, they said replace. They brought that bar back into the rack, and he's now talking to those refs to figure out what was wrong with that starting position so that he can come back out for that second attempt and get that start command. And then back to what I was saying earlier with that press command, that head ref is waiting until that bar is stable on the chest. So taking a look at Kyle there, he had a little bit of a softer touch on the chest. So pretty much as soon as that bar touched his chest, it was stable, and he got a pretty quick press command there. Compared to maybe a lifter, if they really sink it into their chest or if they're unstable, they might not get as quick as of a press command.
All right, we've got Matthew on platform 3 opening with 163 kilos. Gregory as well on platform 4 with 130 kilos.
Very nice opener for Matthew. He gets 3 white lights.
And unfortunately a heavy opener on Gregory. Now that is a very tough position to be in. I think the bench press of the 3 lifts, I mean, it's extremely unforgiving when you open too heavy.
Why might that be, you think?
I mean, to be honest, the bench press, I mean, you're going to rely on the referee, right, on the referee's commands to perform the lift, as well as, I mean, if you just take into anatomy into account, there's a lot less muscles going into the lift. It's a lot harder to kind of, you know, rile yourself up and push yourself through the lift. And so if you open heavy, I mean, there's not really, you know, much room to come back out and adjust. We'll see what happens here. I mean, he's going to have 2 more opportunities to hit that lift. We'll see if he can just kind of recuperate in the warm-up room, try to come out with maybe more energy, and try to put something on the board.
Yeah, like Tom was saying, I think one of the main reasons that a bench is definitely the lift to be more conservative on, because you're waiting on someone else's commands. You know, it's always good to hold yourself accountable in training. Train with true, stable, and long pauses so that you are prepared for meet day, so that you aren't put into that position that Tom was just talking about. And we did just see a miss from the teen lifter, Giannis. He had a 2-to-1 no lift, 2 reds with yellow cards. That could have been a multiple different things. It could have been an issue with jumping commands. He had a very wide stance. His feet could have not been fully flat. A lot of different things. It's really hard to tell with that yellow cards. Hopefully he was able to talk to some refs, figure out what happened, and come back for that second attempt. It looks like he might have felt pretty confident in what went wrong, because he went up to 140 kilos for that second attempt.
We have some very heavy benches here on platform 3. 177.5 kilos for Tyler. After that, Jack and Isaiah will be coming with, you know, over 400 pounds on bench as an opener.
And we are also into the 300 pounds on platform 4 for our openers. We have our Masters 3 lifter, Tommy, coming out to 145. He is, like I said, a Masters 3 lifter, which means he is in his 60 to 79 year range. You know, there's not many people at all that can say that they benched over 145 kilos in their 60s. So, you know, some of these numbers may not look as high when you're compared to all of these open lifters, but it truly is a feat when you put it into perspective like that.
And again, you know, although powerlifting is a strength sport, we are here to compete amongst others in the, you know, a similar division.
And Tommy, he got a good lift. He got 2-to-1 with a blue card. I'm going to go ahead and say that that blue card was for some soft elbows, which I did catch myself. It looked like both in his starting position and the ending position, his elbows might not have been fully locked out. He did get that good lift though, so hopefully, as we've kind of been saying this whole time, he takes that red card into account and doesn't just brush it off because he got the lift, so that going forward, he can get that cleaned up and make sure he gets those next 2 attempts. And like Tong was talking about, Isaiah had a pretty soft touch. Didn't really sink it into his chest at all for the heaviest bench of the openers. So it's really not a right or wrong. You need to sink, you need to soft touch to have the best lift. It's really person to person what works best.
Yeah, of the 3 lifts that you guys are going to see here today, I mean, the bench press, you're going to have the most variety in, technical decisions by these lifters. I mean, you can see Brandon here benching with a fairly flat back, right? Like low arch compared to some of his other lifters. You see Marcus in comparison, I mean, a much closer grip. There's a lot of different ways to, make sure you're at your strongest in the bench press. It is very person dependent.
Yeah, and even just the differences of leverages between those 2 athletes, when they're put next to each other, you can see how much longer, say, Brandon's arms are versus Marcus's. And, that could probably play into reasoning why Marcus was able to open so much heavier, just because, shorter arms definitely puts you in a better position for the bench than those long arms, which could put you in a better position for, say, deadlifts. So really is a give and take in powerlifting, because your total is all just added together at the end of the day.
We've got Shane here on platform 4. 5 kilo jump into his second attempt. That's pretty smooth.
Three white lights is a good lift for him. John is getting set up for that 145 kilo second attempt. Looks like he is making the best of his day after that, maybe a little bit of a scare with that squat opener fail.
A very tough second attempt there.
But looks like that was a good lift nonetheless for him.
Okay, Rob, missing his second attempt. He got a yellow card from the center ref and a blue from the side ref. Again, that yellow card is pretty much a catch-all. We got a blue ref from the side referee. That probably means there's some downward motion. He's going to have the opportunity to come back on his third attempt and try to lock that attempt back in. Oh, very smooth for Joseph.
No lift from the side refs for Rob. It is that yellow card, so it could be a couple different things. Just by speculation, yellow cards from the 2 side refs on the bench press typically could be either the butt coming off of the pad, the glutes do need to remain down, the feet need to remain flat. Those things are a little hard to tell from the front camera view, but considering both side refs saw something, hopefully he's able to figure out what that was, get it fixed, and he can either retake that or go up if he's still feeling confident that he can get that fixed.
Okay, so Michael here.
So he was able to get that start command.
Mm-hmm.
Three white lights. There is a good chance he could have had I've seen a lot of people have medical exemption purposes for not being able to fully lock out an elbow. It looks like he was up talking to the jury after that first attempt. So it looks like he got that sorted out and was able to come back and get that for his second attempt. But if someone is in that situation, it's always good to, get that sorted out with the jury beforehand, because it is the responsibility of the lifter to get that out of the way, just so that you don't end up wasting that first attempt from a potential timing out like that.
We've got Gregory here. He failed his opener on strength.
Oh.
Really tough situation to be in. I mean,
He
again, in powerlifting, you can't go down after a failed attempt. Still has one more attempt, as Katie was saying, but we're going to see, he's just in a really tough spot right now.
Oh. I thought that Travis might have been able to grind out that second attempt, but unfortunately, that was going to be a no lift for him. He does still have that third attempt to come back out. You know, some lifters, maybe they just don't get hype enough for their second benches, and I've seen a lot of people been able to come back for that third bench, get themselves hyped back up, come back out, hit it after missing on strength for the second attempt.
Absolutely. There are definitely adjustments that could be made, you know, a lifter trying to approach it a little bit differently. So again, there's a reason why everyone gets 3 attempts here, just trying to put out the best number they can. And we will see Travis back for that third attempt here shortly. We've got Matthew on platform 3, 167.5. Makes very easy work of that. And I expect another 7.5, 5 kilo jump there. Looks like he's gonna trend well going to deadlifts.
Michael, another Masters 3 lifter, has 137.5 on the bar. It's about 303 pounds. He made it look easy, and he gets 3 white lights.
Ronald as well here. 10 kilo jump into his second. 175 kilos on the bar.
All right, and now Giannis, our Team 1 lifter, he missed his first bench attempt. I believe he had 2 yellow cards. Was not sure exactly what they were for, but he seems confident enough to go up that 10 kilos, that almost 22-pound jump to his second attempt.
We'll see here, folks.
I wonder if on his first attempt it was an issue with his glutes coming off the pad. I did see those hips rise a little bit on that second attempt, but it was a 2-to-1, 2 white lights. It honestly did look like his right side hip was rising while his left stayed down, so that could be reasoning for why he got 1 red from the right ref while a white from the other. But he got that 140 on the board, and he's good to make a jump from there, hopefully make up some of the weight that he missed out on.
In the meantime, I mean, we've got Kevin here on platform 4, 145 kilos. Makes nice work of that. It's going to be pretty important if you're watching at home. I mean, you can keep an eye on how well these second attempts are moving. If you don't already know, the third bench press is the most missed attempt in powerlifting, and a really good indicator of what's going to happen for a lifter is that second attempt. You know, do they have much room to make a good decision, make the correct decision of a number they can hit, or are they running out of space and time?
I also honestly think that seeing how those third bench attempts go is an indicator of how that day is going to go for that lifter. You know, if they can get that third bench attempt, they probably have a pretty good game plan lined up for them. And it looks like we have an American record on platform 4 for Tommy Mundy, a Masters 3 lifter. Oh.
Okay, he was asked to replace the bar. I'm not sure what's happening.
Looks like he's talking to that chief ref right now. He's explaining what was wrong, but that timer is ticking down, so I don't think he's going to have enough time. He does still have that third attempt at it. This is also just highlighting why it really is important to not take too much time when you're getting set up, because if he was able to get out there a little bit sooner, learn what was wrong with it, he could have had enough time to unrack it again and get that start command. But unfortunately, timer ran up. I'm sure he's going to attempt that record again on his third bench now that he knows what the issue would have been.
We've got Mike here on platform 4. Isaiah as well on platform 3.
Mike could not grind out that second attempt. But we are now going up to 175 kilos for Marcus's third attempt.
And that is going to be our last second attempt for this flight on both platforms.
And then we are now up to third attempts on platform 3, starting back out with Brandon Diamond. He's going for 142.5 kilos. That is 314 pounds, just shy of 3 plates, which is always a big milestone for any lifter. All right, let's see if he can set the tone for our third bench presses this session.
He's pressing. Oh yeah, that's good, I think.
A very steady bench press, 3 white lights. Hopefully we can see some more of that as we finish out these third attempts.
All right, we've got Shane here, looking to become the first person on platform 4 to go 6 for 6 today, and having a really good day so far. Only a 2.5 kilo jump. I thought that second attempt was pretty easy. So I'm hoping that this is going to be, as easy for him.
Yeah, it looks like he's very quick off the chest consistently, but especially with a little bit of a narrower-ish grip, just that lockout can really cook the triceps sometimes. So it looks like he made a good choice, going for that 2.5 jump. 87.5 could have been a little bit too heavy. He could have failed that at lockout.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, whether it's, squat, bench, or deadlift, sometimes people tend to overrate, where the lift is fast, but you take it for a given. You fail the lift at its lowest point. That's the point where, velocity becomes 0. And we've got Mark. Okay, he comes back and smokes 110 kilos. It's a good lift.
John, unfortunately, did not get 150 for his third attempt. The first missed third attempt of this session so far on these 2 platforms.
We've got Joseph here. Made very easy work of his second attempt. I think this should be good for him. It's a great third. Rob's fighting. Yeah, and as Katie was saying earlier, longer arms and that closer grip, it's going to come off the chest, pretty nicely, but, getting to that lockout point, that's going to be the real, where the real fight is, and unfortunately not able to get the lift there.
Yeah, and I believe his second attempt was missed on a technical error. He felt confident enough to jump up 5 kilos, which was a little bit too much. Joseph jumped only 5 pounds and wasn't able to get it.
We've got Gregory, platform 4. He missed his first 2 attempts on strength. Back against the wall. Can he try to produce this bench press here? Yeah, that's, again, just really tough situation to be in. Not necessarily even, a mistake on him. Maybe his training was leading well. Maybe 130 was safe, but just something in the translation, into the meet wasn't there. So he's going to bomb out. He won't be able to allow to register a total. He is still able to complete his deadlifts if he elects to, but unfortunately he won't be on the scoreboard.
All right, and then Michael has 130. He had an issue getting his start command, got that fixed for his second, and then is now making that jump up to his third. And he gets it up.
It's a good lift.
He did get 1 red for soft elbows, which, like we were saying, was probably affecting that start command. But it looks like 2 refs said it was good.
All right, we've got 175 kilos being loaded for Matthew here on platform 3, as well as Kyle on platform 4. He's retaking 132.5 kilos. Again, another closer grip lifter. He failed the last one at lockout, so we're going to see here maybe a little bit more push off the chest, a little bit more drive, see if he can finish this one. He's fighting. Oh, he gets it.
It's a good lift. That has got to be one of the best feelings, coming back to that lift after failing on strength. Matthew Garcia has 175 kilos.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of an uneven lockout, but he looks pretty happy with that 3 white lights.
We've got Michael setting up here on platform 4 for 140 kilos. We're about halfway through these third benches here. Takes it into his chest. Just not able to lock that bar out. Got Ronald setting up. Again, 177.5 kilos.
Yeah, one of the good things about that, he only jumped 2.5, so he got 137.5, made the minimum jump possible to 140, so there's really nothing else he can do at that point. He can walk away knowing that he left out everything he had on that platform.
Yeah, and same thing with Ronald there. Missing a whole attempt, you know, it can seem costly, but when you think about the actual loss and it being only 2.5 kilos, I mean, not too much you can be upset about.
Fortunately, no lift for that 145 kilos.
Oh my goodness. Tyler, on his second attempt, had missed that weight just purely on strength, and he's able to just power through it there. Seeing a lot of you know, comeback attempts here during this bench session. Not something you see every day. Like we were talking about earlier, it's very hard to kind of, you know, overcome that deficit, if you will, when you are benching and you fail a lift. But these guys are getting it done.
Kevin locks out 150 kilos for a good lift. All right, Tommy is gonna come back out for the American record. He timed out on his second attempt, so he now only has 1 attempt at it. Hopefully, he talked to the refs, figured out what was wrong. He's coming out looking confident. Hopefully getting a little bit of a speedier setup this time so that if something is wrong, he can have another chance at unracking it. This is an American record attempt. Everyone is getting loud for him right now here.
Nope, he's taking the time to set up.
He got the start command this time. Oh.
Let's see here.
He locked it out. I did see some downward motion. We'll see what the refs say. Yeah. So unfortunately, that bar is only allowed to travel upwards once it leaves the chest. So any dip in it, like we saw there, would be a no lift.
We've got our heaviest bench of this flight here on platform 3, 210 kilos, 463 pounds. Again, another 2.5 increment. His second attempt, although it was smooth, I mean, it was pretty hard. So we're going to see here, I mean, at these weights, even that 2.5 kilo jump, I mean, you are attempting a lot of weight. He's fighting for it, and I just don't think he has it. Yeah, the spars and loaders grabbed that from him. Bit of a tough session for third benches so far. We're going to see our last one here. Marcus is going to come out for 180 kilos. Again, not to say we expect these guys to fail, but this is the most commonly missed attempt in powerlifting.
Yeah, and we're seeing only about 50% of these third bench attempts have been made, which unfortunately enough is pretty common to see. And then we are right into our second flight on platform 3. Jeff is opening us up with 122.5 while Marcus is finishing out that last third attempt of flight 1. Good lift for him, and then we'll be going right into our second flight on platform 4 as well.
Yeah, they are getting the bar loaded here for Steve, 82.5 kilos. And we've got Sean going to come up here on platform 3.
Now Steve will be opening us up at 82.5 kilos. He did only squat 90 kilos, so I think it would be really interesting if we could actually see him bench what he squatted.
It's a great bench there by Sean.
Very smooth opener for Steve, our Masters 4 lifter. Once again, this Masters 4 division means that he is in his 70s.
Got Derek here on platform 3. Coming out for 145 kilos. His handler, going to make sure he grabs his headphones. When you have those in-ear headphones, I mean, it's pretty easy to forget that, those are in. Most people are training with them. You're going to see here he's taking the time to make sure he has the wrist reps on. His time is starting to run out. He's got 17 seconds to get the press command. So we're going to see here he should be all right. Doesn't necessarily need to hurry, but got to make sure he gets this off.
Yeah, and he just needs to get that start command, which looks like he barely beat the timer on that. Very quick opener.
Yeah.
Hopefully for that second attempt he can work out some of those quirks and get in there a little bit sooner.
It can be pretty hectic in the warm-up room, so maybe the warm-ups weren't timed as perfectly as they had planned. But as long as you get yourself on the board, I mean, now you can go back, wait for your attempt, and just kind of see what the competition does. We've got Robert on platform 4. He's going to come out and open with 125 kilos. Had a really good squat session. Both of these guys, Jamel as well, looking to carry that momentum into the bench press. Good lift for Jamel.
And then that will be a good lift for Robert as well. Now, Tom, we saw Robert go out and bench with his belt on. Not typically the most common choice, but some lifters do opt to do it. Do you know why some of these lifters might choose to wear a belt when they bench?
So for a lot of these guys, I mean, what you want to see is, that's the sort of pressure that actually touching the chest with the barbell has on them if they sink at all. A lot of these guys, they want to feel more compact. They want to feel a lot tighter so that when they're contracting and pressing, everything just feels like, it's all together. And that little bit of support, I mean, it can mean a lot to these guys, while they're bench pressing.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely something that you're going to see a little bit more common once you get into heavier weight male lifters. If you get down to the lighter weight females, we're not relying as much on like that lower abdomen pressure as much as we are just trying to get a lot of pressure into the upper abdomen, driving that chest up, creating an arch, which some of these guys might not be the technique that they're using. And as we can see on platform 4, they're adding some blocks underneath for lifters to use. This is an option for any lifter. If maybe, he will not be using blocks, but lifters are able to go ahead and use blocks if they choose. Sometimes people will do this if, say, they're used to training on a commercial gym. Yeah, it looks like they just had the wrong size blocks maybe, but if they're maybe used to training on a commercial gym that's a little bit lower than a competition bench, you want to kind of recreate these training environment in your competition. So it's always going to be an option for people to use these. Looks like they're figuring out.
Yeah, in addition to what, Katie said about what people are training at home, I mean, with different, differences in an athlete's height, the bench press is the only one where we truly, standardize, some sort of minimum interaction with a piece of equipment. I mean, we can really, pretty much change the height on a squat, and a deadlift is, dead on the floor, but that bench press is going to stay the same height, and so, if a lifter needs a little bit of assistance, if you will, just to maintain their setup.
And one other thing lifters can opt for as well, as you see here, Sometimes these blocks can slide on the floor, so we can ask spotters to stand in front of those blocks just to make sure they get a good grip on the ground. This is also typically an option if maybe there's a little bit of a shorter lifter that has problems with their legs reaching the ground. That is always an option for them as well. And it looks like that's going to be a good lift for him with 2 to 1.
Now we're going to have a run on 170 kilos on platform 3. We've got Tyrus starting that run. Again, all of these guys had a really clean squat session, so there is a lot of momentum to be had. And although these are different lifts, I mean, that sort of, positive mindset, knowing that you are on today, hitting your lifts, I mean, that's a signal to yourself that you came to execute. And Tyrus is, opening well there.
Got Michael Latorre, platform 4.
As Tom kind of said, 170 is going to be a popular number on platform 3 with John Ford right now getting set up. We are almost through bench openers on platform 3.
Bit of a sticking point there for John, but gets through it easy enough. We're going to finish that run with Craig here, 170 kilos on the bar. Got Jacob on platform 4. See if he gets a start command here.
Looks like his elbows are not fully locked out, so sounds like he got that replace command, and he does still have 30 seconds left on the clock, so he should have enough time to unrack it again, lock those elbows out. Looks like he got that start command even after a little bit of a long hold. Looks like he might just be struggling to lock them out a little bit.
2 white lights.
One of those was that blue card for soft elbows, but still a good lift. Hopefully he can take that in consideration, lock them out even harder for his second attempt. All right, and we are into second attempts on platform 3 with Jeff starting us out at 130.
We're a little past halfway done with our opening attempts on platform 4. Got Bob here, 165 kilos. Again, had a bit of a tougher squat session, missing 2 squats. So it's going to be very important to him to, try to see if we can get 3 for 3 here, A lot of times you might start a meet poorly, missing a few attempts here and there, but I mean, the way you feel about a performance can change drastically if you finish out the day on a high note.
After someone might miss, say, a third attempt on squat, we can see if maybe their game plan is going to change. Are they going to go more aggressive on another lift to try to make up for it, or more conservative to make sure that they get the rest of their attempts?
We've got Gabriel here. Again, very close grip on the bench.
Very clean opener for him. And as you saw, he was raising his head as it left the pad. That was a recent rule change to use APL. You used to not be able to let your head leave the bench pad, but that is no longer a rule, so that was a good lift for him.
Got Derek here on platform 3. One thing you're going to see a lot here, you can see Jeffrey doing it right now, is these guys, if they want to take a lift off, they are consulting with the designated liftoff person on each platform, making sure that they know exactly how they want it, if possible. A lot of times, there is a little bit of a difference in what these lifters are getting back at home in training and what they're going to get here, and they want to do their best to make sure that what they need is not lost in translation. Folks, Katie just pointed out, we've got 192.5 kilos as an opener here on platform 4.
That is 424 pounds, again, as an opener. By our junior lifter, no less.
All right, he's taking his time getting set up. Let's see how well he can move this.
Oh, wow.
Very smooth for an opener. Undeniable lift with 3 whites.
Jamel fighting through 157.5. We're going to see here what kind of decision he makes. I think it would do him well to be a bit more conservative than he might, want to go. But I mean, he's 5 for 5 right now. No reason to risk anything over, 2.5 kilos here and there. Just try to lock in a third attempt. We got Steve and Steven.
Steven is taking 162.5 while Steve is taking 87.5 kilos. Looks like that chief ref moved up a little bit closer just to make sure that he's able to hear him well. A little bit of a sticking point, but he got it locked out. And that was a good lift for Steve. And for Steven, that was a good lift as well. Looks like the Steves are having good bench day so far.
Following that up, we've got Big Mike on platform 4. He's got one of my favorite kits on right now. I love the green and black combo. And Cole, maybe the best socks in this entire session.
Got some good fits on the screen, both ends right now.
They say, look good, play good. A lot of these guys, I mean, in powerlifting, we are mandated to wear, a cotton t-shirt and a singlet. So the, ability to kind of express yourself more, show your personality, it's a little bit limited, but I mean, these guys definitely find a way. And he found a way to get that second attempt. Great job, Cole.
Like they are looking good and they are lifting good with 3 white lights for both of them.
We've got David and Andy here, platform 3 and platform 4 respectively. On platform 3, we are about to finish out here with our second attempts. A little bit of a longer flight here on platform 4. They are still working through those attempts as well. I mean, for as far as unloaders, you're going to see 177.5 kilos here 3 times in a row. It makes their job easier. It makes the platform a little bit faster. So you can see these guys are all close to each other in what they're benching. And we'll talk about it here soon, but they're all very close together in subtotal as well. So I'm curious to see, are they all in the same division? They are. So yeah, that platform 3 you're watching, everybody there is in the same division. They're all competing against each other. It makes it a lot easier when your competition is right in front of you and not on a different platform.
All right, looks like our round of 170 kilo benchers all decided to also take 177.5. So starting us out with that weight is Tyrus. Very nice second attempt from him.
Yeah, he's going to need to be careful about that sticking point. Like I said, be a little bit more conservative. Make sure you get a third attempt. All of these guys have not missed. I mean, if you want to win this competition, I think it's going to come down to, who makes a mistake first and how costly that mistake is. We've got the bar loaded for Mario on platform 4. Again, a few guys here and there that are, missing, multiple lifts, but otherwise, everybody here is executing right now.
All right, and then John Ford is following in Tyrus's path, locking out 177.5. Let's see if Craig can do the same. Same weight on the bar remains for him. And then Mario gets that 152nd attempt.
And a huge shout out to our spotting and loading crew on both platforms and really at this entire meet. They have been working very hard all week.
A lot of these spotters and loaders, they're not just working one session, they're working all 3 sessions, all of these days, back to back.
Bit of a grind there for Craig. Still gets the lift though.
All of those lifters were able to get their 177.5 with all of our lifters having good first and second attempts on bench.
Hopefully this bodes well for our third bench attempts here.
All right, and we are now into our final benches of the second flight. Jeff just locked out 135 kilos, starting us off strong.
Jacob there with a fairly clean second attempt. I'm going to see if... Oh, okay, 3 white lights, yeah. Wanted to see if he was going to get cleared for those elbows. Sometimes on a video live stream, it can be a little deceptive. You know, those elbows looking like they're not locked out. Again, you know, a lot of these guys, depending on the technique they use, some of them just have a little bit more rotation in their shoulder, and the way that arm looks, it looks, you know, soft, as you would call it, but the referees think so. It's a good lift. Wow, powers through that second attempt. That's a good lift right there.
We had our first missed third bench attempt. Sean was not able to lock out 150, but Derek will be taking the bar up to 160. Hopefully, we'll be able to lock this one out. All right, and our junior lifter, Gabriel, is coming back out, taking a 10-kilo jump up to 175.
We've got Derek setting up here, making sure that the designated handoff person, you know, was there and present, taking his time to make sure his setup's correct. Just off the chest, yeah. Again, bit tough there. With that, you know, that wider grip as well. I mean, off the chest, that's where it's gonna be pretty hard to, you know, power through that sticking point. Had a tough second attempt. Luckily now he gets some time to just kind of recuperate and think about, you know, how he's going to approach his deadlift session. A lot of folks sometimes when they have, you know, 2 missed attempts after squat and bench, they start to think like, hey, let's be more conservative on deadlift, try to go 3 for 3, finish the day on a high. So we'll see how he comes back. Got Robert fighting. Again, a little bit too much.
Joffrey has 185. I'm sure he must have been on a high after that third squat coming into bench. Looks like he moved that very nicely.
Got a very good bench right there from Jeffrey. We've got our big bencher here, Simon. Made easy work of 192.5 kilos. Now you're seeing he took a 12.5 kilo jump. That is going to be a lot more than you're going to see others take. And we have Jamel locking out a grindy 162.5. 3 white lights, great lift.
Yeah, like we were kind of talking about earlier, even though it is a big jump, it's about the same percentage of what the weight is. And that opener flew, so let's see if he can make that second one look about the same. Very smooth, like the opener, looking like his second attempt should. Very curious to see what he will get loaded for that third attempt. David was grinding out 165, could not lock it out.
Yeah, and that's one of the issues there, you know, when you're trying to make a good decision about that third bench attempt. I mean, sometimes you get to that second attempt, it's tough, and you run out of options. So you took the minimum increment there and just, you know, didn't have enough for the day. Luckily, he only missed 2.5 kilos. We've got Steve here on platform 4. He's trying to bench 90 kilos. That's the same as he squatted.
Unfortunately, 90 was just a little bit too much, but he's still walking away with that 87.5 kilo bench.
And we are starting to wrap up here on platform 3. We've got 175 kilos loaded for David, and following that, our trio is continuing to follow each other. You'll see a run on 182.5 kilos. Let's see how David approaches this.
David
Oh my goodness.
That. Oh. Yeah, unfortunately for Mike, I don't think that was fully locked out, so he did get 2 blue cards and a yellow card. Not sure what that yellow card was for, but I do know that that blue card was probably for those elbows not fully locked out.
It seemed like either off his chest there was a little bit of a bounce. Maybe that was downward motion after the press. It didn't really, you know, we're not able to hear that back here. You know, in a situation like that, you walk away saying, hey, that's a gym PR. Maybe it doesn't count in a meet, but
definitely still something to be proud of in the end.
All right, we've got the first of our 182.5 kg benches here on platform 3. Oh my goodness.
Tyrus locks out 182.5.
Yeah, that's a great lift. I didn't think he had 5 kilos after that second, but clearly proving me wrong. Our second 182.5 kilo bench here, platform 3, as well as Robert on platform 4. Yeah, the crowd is starting to show a little bit more energy. Generally, when the bench press starts, you know, we kind of turn the music down. The crowd gets a little bit more quiet just so that everyone's able to hear the commands of the referees.
Bench is definitely one of the harder ones to be able to hear when the crowd is super loud, because with the squat and deadlift, they're able to see a hand motion from a ref, but obviously on the bench press, they're not looking at the ref, so they're relying on solely listening to them.
And you see there a fail for John.
And now I do remember Craig's second attempt looking a little hard, so we'll see if he's able to lock out this 182.5. Unfortunately, it was just a little bit too much. 180 kilos might have been a better choice for some of these lifters, but.
All right, we are going to set the platform up for deadlifts on platform 3. In the meantime, we will go full screen here on platform 4 shortly. We've got 5 more bench attempts, starting with Jacob of 170 kilos. Jacob is 5 for 5 so far. Really looking to lock this in and just start his day, you know, on a perfect note. Oh my goodness. Yeah, very strong bencher there. Ooh, that's 2 white lights. That is a good lift. He's going to be followed up by Michael de La Torre. Again, similar situation. Starting the day 5 for 5. You know, wants to start 6 for 6.
Michael is getting that lift off from one of those spotters.
Yeah, a bit too much today. You can see there he took a bigger jump from his second to his third after that opener to the second. You know, definitely felt good after his second, but I'm not sure if that was the right decision. Still having a good day so far. I mean, he's got a big pull on him, so we're going to see him back here soon. In the meantime, we've got Bob, 177.5 kilos. Again, we mentioned it earlier. He went 1 for 3 on squats. It would be great to see him go 3 for 3 here. Just rebuild that momentum, that that good feeling going into deadlifts. Unfortunately, unable to do that.
We've got 185 waiting for Gabriel.
Yeah, this is a big bench press. Only miss so far is that second squat. He went up on his third and got that back. Can almost say, some people call it, getting 2.5 squats. Gonna see how he finishes bench here. 185 kilos on the bar. What's up? He's fighting. No. Got a bit too much on the day.
All right, only 2 benches left of this session. Jeffrey with 192.5 will be coming out next.
Oh, I didn't even notice, but yeah, Jeffrey is excited here. He changed his singlet from squats to bench.
And
Oh,
it's
that's
slow,
wonderful.
but it went up.
3 white lights, that's a great lift. All right, folks, one more bench to go. We have Simon. He's got 217.5 loaded on the bar here. He started the day 5 for 5, looking to go perfect through the subtotal. And this is our junior lifter.
All right, he must be feeling good. Making a big jump from the second to the third attempt. Hoping finish out this flight and bench presses as a whole strong. If he gets this, he'll be 6 for 6 so far today, which will set him up really nicely going into deads.
Oh,
And
he's fighting
pushing.
through it. He's fighting through it.
Oh.
Just too much.
He still walked away with, I believe, the biggest bench press of that flight. Might have just been a little bit too much on the day for him, though.
All right, folks, like before, we are going to get the platform ready for deadlifts. As soon as that starts, there will be a 10-minute intermission, and we will be back with the action.
Get access to world-class coaching in real time from anywhere. Whether in a small group setting or one-on-one, our coaches are in your ear during your training sessions, watching every rep and correcting every mistake.
All right, folks, we are back here closing out session 2 today. We've got Brandon of Basement Barbell, again, one of our presenting sponsors. Very nice opener there. We are going to be on the single screen for about 3 more minutes, and then we will bring forward platform 4. In the meantime, we've got Brian, 227.5 kilos. That is 500 pounds as the second attempt opener.
We're going to see differences in a lot of different technique on these deadlifts. You know, there's a lot of different things you can do, such as your stances, your grip, the way you angle your toes. So, you know, some of the most common stances are going to be like sumo versus conventional, and then a hook grip versus a mixed grip. So, Tom, what are some of the differences between those?
So, a conventional deadlift, I mean, you're going to see there, it's going to be your feet about shoulder width under you, your hands right outside. It's going to be a very stacked position. The sumo is going to be different. So sumo is going to be the most diverse one. It's going to be people's legs, you know, outside of the grip of their hands. One of the biggest differences with these is, I mean, people are going to associate the sumo deadlift with being a little bit more technical. It allows a lifter to kind of engage, you know, where they're bringing their hips into the lift, where they're bringing their quads into the lift, just changing the stance and the range of motion. Whereas a conventional, you know, as the name says, I mean, these guys are going to walk up to the bar, you know, set their feet down, as Joseph is doing right here, really just set the grip and, you know, initiate a pull. Yeah, perfect example.
Yeah, and then as far as differences in some of those grips, we just saw Joseph do what's called a mixed grip, where one hand is on top, the palm facing towards the lifter, one hand is under with the palm facing away from the lifter. And then some people also do like a double overhand hook grip. Wow, Tong, what exactly does that hook grip mean?
So what they're doing, as far as why it's called a hook grip, is they are wrapping their bar and clamping it down with another finger, essentially creating a hook on the bar where the bar is hanging. The reason that we are using these sorts of grips as opposed to just, you know, putting 2 hands over the bar and, you know, having a tight fist is because the bar rotates. And so in order to stop this rotation and maintain your own grip on the bar as you're lifting it up, you have to stop the bar from spinning. And so, you know, if you're thinking about doing mixed grip, having one hand each way stops the bar from rotating. And if you let the bar hang and give it no room to, you know, essentially rotate with a hook, I mean, you're going to be able to, you know, perform the lift.
And
very easy pull
Ronald
there.
had a good example of a mixed grip right there, as you saw, one hand over, one hand under. Hopefully we can get a good example of a hook grip coming up, and I think we've only seen conventional pullers so far as well.
Yeah, one thing is, as you start to get into these bigger weight classes, these 100 kg, 110 kg weight classes, you're going to probably see, you know, something closer to 50-50, if not a little bit more biased towards conventional. A lot of the decisions around someone's chosen deadlift, you know, stance, it's going to be, you know, the comfort of their body and how they prefer to lift.
You know, a lot of these lifters that are in lighter weight classes, you know, they might be a little bit lankier. They can put themselves into a lot better position in that sumo position, whereas a conventional might be better for some of these bigger guys that we're seeing.
And folks, platform 4 is up and running. We are going to get that on the side screen here. Sorry for that slight delay. We are about 3 attempts in. I can assure you, I mean, everyone that's gone so far, that is Jonas and Shane. Those have been good lifts. Again, we'll have that up in just 1 second. In the meantime, I mean, we are seeing exactly what you want to see. You know, the deadlift is a very taxing lift. These guys are making sure this first opener is nice and easy, put something on the board, but also, you know, it's a pipeline to that big pull. You don't want to use all your energy early on.
You know, especially in this conventional lift, conventional is typically going to be a little bit more fatiguing than in sumo. And as someone myself who's kind of gone back and forth between stances, I've seen the differences in the jumps that I want to take. You know, with conventional, I'm making bigger jumps to save my back, save my energy. but sumo is not going to be as taxing as some of the other lifts.
And we see Gregory there, so he did bomb out on the bench press, but he's electing to continue competing. I'm always a big fan of that. I mean, you know, unless you live here locally, you have to travel here. You have to sign up months in advance and train months in advance. And so finishing out your day, you know, knowing what you can pull, I mean, at the very least, it's information about your, you know, your training strategy, right? Like, did my deadlift show up? And otherwise, I mean, you deserve to, you know, show off your lift. I mean, this is a celebration of sport as much as it's a national championship. So very happy to see Gregory there. We've got 205 loaded for Michael on platform 4 and 265 loaded for Isaiah on platform 3.
I think it's interesting as well to see the differences in the belt heights that lifters use. Isaiah has that belt very high up while Michael has that belt very low. That's also just going to be differences in what's best for the lifters. And with Isaiah, we're actually finally seeing a sumo puller. He had that sumo stance and that hook grip as well.
And as Katie was saying earlier, guys, you know, she mentioned the different positions these guys can get their bodies in. If you think about the belt as like this external element, I mean, when a person is, you know, getting into their hips, trying to wedge into the bar, I mean, that is an obstacle of space. So some of these guys, it's more comfortable to have it really low. And other guys, I mean, they're putting it, you know, almost right up on their chest. Great pull for Jack there.
A little bit of a heavy opener for Michael. But that is a good lift. Wonder how big of a jump he's going to be able to put together after that.
And again, a credit to our spotters and loaders here. We are moving very fast on platform 3. I mean, we're at our last 2 attempts. We've got Tommy here, platform 4. Looks to be a good opener. The judges think so as well.
Rodriguez is getting set up for the second heaviest pull of his flight, 290 kilos as an opener. Moves it very fast. Yeah, I don't think he pulled his shoulders fully back there, so he did get a red card, which just means that he wasn't fully locked out. Sometimes the closer of a grip that an athlete decides to take, it can be a little bit harder to fully pull those shoulders all the way back, pull that chest through. He did still get that lift, so hopefully he can learn from that and then just flex that chest through the shoulders a little bit harder.
And a good lift for Tyler there. That is all of our opening attempts. I mean, across the board on platform 3, I mean, everyone's looking, you know, pretty smooth. I think this is shaping up to be a great deadlift session.
Now we've only seen a couple reds just on 2-to-1 lifts, but so far everyone has a deadlift on this flight, which is really good sign. You know, once someone gets that first deadlift, you know that you're not bombing out. And so that's what's always going through my head. Once I get that first deadlift, you know you at least got a total.
And if you're looking at home, ladies and gentlemen, on LiftingCast, you're going to see those totals start to populate. You know, as we get into these second and third attempts here, we're going to start talking more about placing. A lot of these guys, especially the Masters division, they are vying for that podium. And then we have a couple open lifters as well. These guys, so for the most part, and I'm not sure if there are, you know, maybe some Masters lifters in prime time, but we have a separate session that follows this, which is the top-ranked ladies and gentlemen, you know, in the USAPL. We're competing head-to-head. And so the best thing that these guys can do is put up a good total, the best total they can do, and, you know, kind of wait and see, you know, where they fall in the pecking order. Got Brandon, 242.5 kilos there on the second attempt.
And then Kyle had a nice opener of 227.5. Now, for this deadlift, there is only one command that these lifters need to follow. That command is a down command. So lifters have 1 minute to go out, take as long as they want to set up, and they just need to start pulling that bar before that minute is up. Let's see what the refs say about Kevin's opener. Just waiting on that third light. Good lift for him. As I was saying though, only one down command that lifters are waiting for there. Some of the most common infractions that we might see with this lift are going to be not fully locking out the lift, so that means not fully locking out the knees, not pulling the shoulders back, or not pulling the chest fully through, kind of same thing as the shoulders. Some of the other things we might see is say with bench and squat, no downward motion of the bar is allowed. You also cannot ramp the bar up your thighs. So, Tom, what exactly does ramping the bar up the thighs mean?
So a lot of times when lifters are struggling to finish the lockout portion of the lift, they are going to get caught sort of around that thigh area. And essentially what ramping is if you lean back or you lose a little bit of position as a lifter, you can essentially crawl the bar up your body using your thighs, and that is going to be an infraction in the eyes of the referee. And as you see there, folks, we have Shane Harrison, our adaptive athlete, pulling 205 kilos. He is allowed to use an implement that gives him a set grip on the barbell. Again, our adaptive category, that is our athletes that have a sort of disability that impacts their performance. And so that is something that he is able to do. We've got Gregory and Ronald here. I'd say those are two fairly tough second attempts. Both good, however.
Yeah, both got all 3 white lights. Mark is getting set up for this big 212.5 kilo pull. Lifters are allowed to wear knee sleeves when they deadlift, which is what Mark is doing right here. A couple wardrobe changes are allowed with deadlifts, so lifters are allowed to take off their t-shirt for deadlifts, as Travis has chosen to do here, and then all lifters are required to wear deadlift socks that go up to the knee. Gino is getting the crowd riled up for Michael in his second attempt. While Matthew is taking his time getting set up for his second attempt of 275. Like I said, they have that entire minute just to start the pull. They don't have to finish it by then, just to start the pull. So they have 60 seconds all to themselves there. They're not waiting on a ref to give them a start command, so you truly can take as much time as you want there. And he's grinded that pole around the knees.
He gets a red card from the center ref. Otherwise, a good lift. The front judge there probably, may have seen that his shoulders weren't locked out, or maybe his knees. But yeah, to Katie's point about having that entire minute, I mean, you own that platform for that entire minute. These guys, they're going to get excited. They're going to make sure they own the space. When you're performing a lift like the deadlift, for a lot of these guys, this is the biggest, lift as far as absolute weight that they're performing. They're going to want to get their mind right. And a lot of times it's about being comfortable on that platform. Got Rob here. Some very cool USA socks.
Very nice second attempt. I'm wondering what he's going to cook up for his third attempt. And Harrison.
We've got John Mack. He, if my math is correct, and it may not be, he took a 47.5 kilo jump onto his second attempt. I don't think I've ever seen a jump that big in a competition. Again, we were emphasizing, oh my goodness,
Wow.
the concept of using that opening attempt almost as a warm-up attempt, saving yourself some energy. As Katie was saying, it's a very taxing lift. A lot of these guys, if they were tasked to pull something close to their absolute max multiple times, it probably wouldn't happen. So make sure that first attempt is super light, taking a real attempt on that second, and giving it your all on that third. That's kind of seems to be the meta these days in USAPL.
Jack had a very solid second attempt of 295.
Got Marcus here on platform 4. I think one thing to note too, the deadlift, a lot of these guys have very ritualistic setups. Because this lift happens on your own time, on your own go, a lot of these guys, they have sort of a setup, model that they follow every single time. It gets their mind and their body ready, gets them set up in the right position, and it's the cadence they need to perform the lift.
Looks like Jimmy is doing exactly that right now, taking his time. He did get one red card for a soft lockout on his last attempt, but it looks like he cleaned that up and now got 3 whites for his second.
We've got the bar being loaded for Mike Burns on platform 4. You see Tyler here with a huge 322.5 kilo second attempt on platform 3. That is our first deadlift above 700 pounds. With that conventional hook grip.
Oh. I do think
We're
that
gonna see
there's
here
gonna
what the
be
referees think.
some downward motion there.
Yeah.
Fortunately, very fast off the floor, which is surprising for a conventional pull to me, but hopefully he's able to come back and pull that one more time. It looks like he's already input that he's just gonna retake that for his third attempt. And now, even though Tyler started out much heavier than Jimmy, it looks like Jimmy has already put in his third deadlift attempt of 325, so he's looking to outpull Tyler in the end. That's kind of what happens if you make these bigger jumps. Where you start does not mean where you're gonna end up.
And a great pull there with Brian. Really finishing out a great day here. I believe he went 8 for 9. So fantastic way to show up at Nationals. And we've got Brandon, owner of Basement Barbell, looking to finish his day with a 252.5 kilo pull. Let's see what he can do. Oh, fantastic third attempt. Yeah, congrats on a big day, Brandon.
Shane Harrison is pulling 210. We'll see if that was a good lift. Yeah, unfortunately, I did see that as well. It looked like he supported that a little bit on his thighs to help get that past his knees. But he did have a very good day, regardless of that last pull. Walked away with 8 out of 9 of his lifts. In that adaptive division, he's just competing against himself. So showing up 8 out of 9, very good day for him.
Got Jonas, our Teen 1 lifter. Finishing with a 212.5 kilo deadlift. It's a great day for him.
And then Joseph gets his third deadlift. Frank James Martin is coming out to 272.5 kilos.
That is 600 pounds, folks. He is going for a big deadlift here. We've got Gregory as well.
Very unfortunate. Did not quite get that off the floor.
And a great pull by James. 3 white lights, great day. We're gonna see the same weight on platform 3 for Joseph, and Mark is gonna take 220 kilos on platform 4. A bit too heavy there for both guys. Otherwise, both guys had really good days. I believe both are going to go 8 for 9 there. Joseph did miss his 3rd squat, so that is a 7 for 9 day.
Michael is going to take 225 kilos. Again, he is in our Masters 3 division, that 60 to 69 year range.
And we've got Ronald, platform 3, 280 kilos on the bar. This will give him an 8 for 9 day. A very fantastic session.
Oh, let's see what the refs say about Michael's 3rd pull. Oh, that was a good lift. 2 white lights. He did get one.
No.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to be a good lift for Ronald. Looks like he couldn't quite lock that one out.
Yeah, you saw there his grip in his right hand just came a little undone. You know, sometimes a lifter is trying to grind that that lift out to completion, and that hand just gets opened up by the thigh. So otherwise, really good day for Ronald. Had a fantastic session.
Tommy looks happy after that 3rd pull. Great end to his day. You know, didn't quite get that American record he was maybe coming here for, but still finished out strong with that 3 for 3 deads.
Now Matthew, he had that hiccup with that squat opener, but otherwise it's been perfect all day.
All right, Rob Cook is coming out for a 230 kilo pull. Oh, he locked it out. I do think that there will be a call for ramping, but we'll see. Yeah. Fortunately, 2-1, no lift.
Wanted to see Rob Cook one more time, but otherwise, again, fantastic session out of Rob. We're getting to the end here for both of these flights, about halfway through. We've got 282.5 kilos for Travis on platform 3 and 232.5 for Michael on platform 4. Guys taking their time to set up. Michael is grinding through the lift. I'm thinking that's going to be good. Let's see what the referees think. He celebrates. He knows it's good. They know it's good.
All right, and then after that pull, he was able to move up into the current 1st place 400 kilo Masters 3 division. We'll see if he's able to hold that position later on. Marcus is currently in 1st in the Masters 200 kilo division.
Oh no.
Slip on the grip at the top of the lift, but he will still remain in 1st place even after missing that pole.
And folks, we are on a bad streak of misses right now on platform 3. We're going to see if John can kind of, correct this, get us back in the green here. 5 straight misses.
He took that massive jump to his second, made it fly, took a more conservative jump to his third, so I'm thinking that he will be able to break this streak of misses for us.
And it looks like his strategy is going to pay off. We're going to see if the referees think that, you know, maybe that could be supporting on the thigh.
Oh.
Oh.
Looks like that was 2 reds. One of them,
His knees might have been soft there.
yeah, I think one of them was a red and a blue maybe.
All right, folks. Jack is coming up. Again, let's see if he can break this streak. We are on 6 straight misses on platform 3. He's looking pumped. Only a 5-kilo jump. He looks set up for this. Bring us home, Jack.
Oh, that's going to be some downward motion for Jack, even though he locked it out. Very unfortunate. We have 2 lifters left that can break this streak for us. Tyler missed 322.5 on strength at the top of the lift. He's coming back out to it for a second go at that same weight. Can he get himself hyped back up to pull this?
We got Kyle on platform 4, 556 pounds.
Very fast off the ground. I didn't see any downward motion, and it looks like he locked it out. We'll see what the refs say. That is
That's
a good
lift.
2-1. All right, we have one final pull on platform 3 for this flight. We have Jimmy Rodriguez coming out to 325 kilos. Can he follow after Tyler and lock this out?
We also have our last deadlift on platform 4. We are taking an insane 30-kilo jump. Kevin.
After only a 15 jump from his first to his second, Jimmy is going through his setup routine, getting right in his head where he needs to be. Oh.
He's not going to get that lift there. Downward motion as he's trying to lock it out.
Yeah, looks like he had downward motion as well as letting go of the bar a little bit too early. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, Kevin taking an ambitious jump to 606 there was probably a goal number that he had set. You know, just kind of went for it, but definitely was not there today. That is going to conclude Flight C. We are moving on to Flight D. This is our last set of deadlifts here, ladies and gentlemen, for this session.
And it looks like our 2 platforms are timed up together perfectly right now. We've got Sean and Steve right now opening us up on both platforms. Very clean looking opener from Sean. Steve rocking the purple Converse, opening up with 115.
Yeah, easy deadlift for Steve.
Got that conventional and hook grip pull for Cole, 215. And Jacob just locked out 185. Jeff is pulling 215. A little bit of a heavy opener, but looks like he got it.
We've got Big Mike on platform 4, opening with 185 kilograms. Fairly easy opener. Same goes for Jamel.
Robert has 190 for his opener. And just to recap for anyone for this fight, some of the common infractions that we're gonna see on some of these deadlifts. If you hear me say that they got a red card, that's gonna mean that they did not fully lock out the deadlift. This could be not fully locking out the shoulders or not fully locking out the knees. If they get a blue card, that could mean that they supported the bar on their thighs or that there was some downward motion in the bar. And then there's a yellow card, which means a couple different things. One of the common yellow cards in deadlift could be dropping the bar. They need to just maintain a controlled grip all the way down on it. Yeah, Mario received a blue card. It looks like he kind of had a bobble at the top, in my opinion. He locked it out, fell forward a tiny bit, and then back forward. That could be reason for a blue card, but 2-to-1, 2 white lights is all you need for it to be a good lift. Majority rules. So anything that would be 2-to-1 no lift would be 2 reds, 1 white, which would be a bad lift.
We've got 250 kilos on both platforms. Robert makes easy work of it.
And so does Andy. Looks like he got 1 red for not fully locking, perhaps not fully pulling his shoulders back.
We've got Derek coming out, 255 kilos.
And then we have Simon with 265.
Oh, bit of a stumble there for Derek. Sometimes, you know, on these openers, the weight is so light that these guys lose balance on the way up. Definitely can reflect on that in the warm-up room, see if he elects to take that on his second attempt. A lot of people will usually try to go up a little bit, but depending on how Derek's feeling, you know, he might want to just come back and lock that up.
Yeah, it looked like he showed up strong, looked like it moved really well, just a little bit of a balance issue that he can pay a little bit more of attention to on his second attempt.
Oh, and we can see here on LiftingCast, Derek, after that failed opener, he went up 20 kilos to 275. So definitely what we're talking about there, you know, just a bit of a stumble. The weight moves so fast that you end up losing balance at the top. Him and his coach are gonna elect to go up anyways. In the meantime, we've got John, 255 kilos. Makes light work of that. And 277.5 for Bob. You can see there, Steven has asked the head referee if we can get that bar cleaned. Throughout a session and a flight, I mean, that bar accumulates baby powder and chalk. At any point, a coach or an athlete are allowed to ask the head referee, you know, to have one of the spars and loaders just scrub the bar off real quick. And for a lot of these guys, I mean, their connection to the bar is everything, so.
Yeah, Tom, why do so many of these athletes put baby powder on their thighs in the deadlift?
So the stickiest part of the deadlift for just about anybody is when that bar comes into contact with your skin on the thighs. Athletes are allowed to use baby powder to just kind of give them a smoother path to locking out without their own body obstructing the lift. And it's just something we allow here to make the competition a lot smoother.
And we're into second deadlift attempts with Sean starting us off. And we have Gabriel opening up with 330 kilos.
That's 727 pounds, folks, as the opener.
Let's see how he's able to move this. looked very smooth. It's got 3 white lights from the refs. That is a massive deadlift for a junior lifter.
We've got Jeff, platform 3, 220 kilos.
It looks like Gabriel is forecasted to place decently well within the 110 kilo junior class. I believe there are some pretty strong juniors in prime time later tonight. So all he can do right now is put together the best total that he can and then see where he stacks up after the primetime session ends tonight.
And after that, I mean, we are back to the top of second attempts on platform 4. Steve with a very nice, easy pull.
Kilo second attempt was good for Cole. And then we're already up to 200 kilos on platform 4 for Jacob.
Got Caleb here, 240 kilos. Lights. Big Mike is back up to the platform. 207.5 kilos on the bar.
With Jamel on platform 3 taking 255. Like I said, a lot of the equipment lifters might not opt to wear, say, wrist straps or knee sleeves on the deadlift, but anything you're allowed to wear on one lift, you're allowed to wear on the others.
And Jamel is feeling himself. He's feeling excited. So Mike had a lockout issue there. The weight moved, you know, nice enough for him to try to maybe, you know, try to come out maybe a little more excited, a little more energy, try to get that on his 3rd attempt. We're watching Robert. Pretty smooth second.
See if the refs. Yeah, 1 red for soft lockout, but 2 whites is a good lift.
Yeah, Tyrus as well there. Very good job. For the most part here, folks, I mean, it's not too dissimilar to the flight before, but these guys are, you know, setting up their deadlift sessions well. Openers and second attempts are moving nicely. And we are all building up towards that last final pull. Good job by Robert there. Maybe a little bit more baby powder in the back, and you can take a nice little jump on his 3rd attempt.
Mario locked out 252. Let's see what the refs say. Yeah, one red for a soft lockout, but still a good lift. Same call as his first attempt.
Yeah, David with a good pull there. I think if he can find some baby powder in the warm-up room, I mean, he's set up really nicely to take a good 3rd attempt.
And now in powerlifting, lifters are allowed 2 third deadlift attempt changes. So as these lifters are completing their second attempts, they're putting in their third attempts, but these are all subject to change. So if you want to follow along with any potential third deadlift changes, feel free to look up LiftingCast.com, go to USA Powerlifting Raw Nationals Day 3, and we are on platforms 3 and 4.
Katie, as you mentioned there, what are some reasons why a lifter would be thinking about changing their third attempt?
Yeah, so if they are simply just thinking about their own performance, sometimes a lifter could second guess what their strength level is, if they're feeling better or feeling worse. But also, a big reason people are making these changes is they're seeing what their competition is doing. And if they're trying to beat out their opponent, say if someone has a stronger deadlift than their competition, they're gonna wait to see what their competition pulls. And if they miss a deadlift, they might wanna pull only exactly what they need if they're trying to get first place, just to secure that spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned it there, but you only have a minute to make that decision. It's the last and final lift of the day. A lot of these times, a lifter can take a second, pull up the live stream. Maybe their coach or someone in the crowd is a video of the pull. Just really think about, try to be objective about what's going on, because these guys are getting back there. They're hyped. They're excited. They want to get ready for that pull. But again, that deadlift change gives them an opportunity to just think about it. It's the privilege we allow on the very last lift of the meet.
Yeah, it looked like Bob Euchre missed his deadlift from a soft lockout. I believe it looked like his knees were not fully locked out. It looks like he's already put in just to retake that lift again, so he'll have one more chance to fully lock out those knees. Simon has got 292.5 loaded.
Yeah, another strong pull out of Simon. That comes after a 27.5 kilo jump. I think he's got room for another modest jump there. Really good job by him and his handler making the right decisions, pacing him well for these big pulls. Got Jeff here. Oh, 230 kilos. That's a great pull for Jeff. 3 white lights. Great job, Jeff. 3 for 3 on deadlifts. Now we've got the last 2 pulls of platform 4 on the second attempts. We've got 722 pounds by Michael. Bit of a bobble at the top. I'm not sure that's going to pass with the referees. Oh, 2 white lights.
Only 1 red.
Folks, we have a huge deadlift. So this is going to be a world record in the 110 kg junior division. What happens here is we switch out some of the referees in the seats and make sure they are category 2 international referees, just so we can verify the validity of this lift. It's 362.5 kilos. I believe in pounds, this is 797 pounds. It's right under 800 pounds.
And the bar is loaded for Gabriel. He's coming out, and it is insane to not only attempt this world record, but to attempt it on a second attempt. And if he gets this, he will have the chance to break his own record for his 3rd attempt. So let's see how this second attempt goes for him.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
That was a massive jump up to that weight. He will have another attempt at it. So we'll see if he has it in him to grind that out one final time.
On platform 3, I mean, we are almost halfway through our 3rd attempts. Jamel is coming out to 267.5 kilos. Jamel himself has had a very good day. This is going to give him a 9 for 9 performance, a perfect day. This is as good as it gets.
All right, Steve is getting hyped up by some of the spotters and loaders that are out there with him, and he's starting off the 3rd attempts for platform 4 for us right now. So let's see if he can set the tone and pull this 125 kilos. Oh yeah, and it looked like an opener for him. Unfortunately, I think that his knees were probably not fully locked out. A little bit hard to tell from this front angle, but those refs did get a good side view of it. Mike missed his second attempt of 207.5. He's coming back out for it right now. One last shot at that weight.
Again, Big Mike got called for reds, you know, unable to lock out his shoulders and knees on the second. Yeah, we see there just a little bit too much for today.
A little bit of a mix-up here on platform 3. What I'm gathering is that there was an attempt change as far as the number, and now Robert was going in front of Tyrus. Tyrus came out for the pull, but again, it seems like Robert might have lowered his number. So just making sure the order is correct back there.
All right, Jacob is looking to have a 9 for 9 day. And it looks like he just secured that. And 9 for 9, currently placed 3rd in the Masters 2 110 class.
Oh, and Robert, that's a great pull. Oh, he's excited. That's a 9. I believe that's 9. He missed one bench. That's 8 for 9 for Robert. It's a great day. He's currently in 3rd place in the Raw Masters 1 division. Okay, Tyrus is finally out for his pull.
And then Mario's got 260 on the bar. He's been getting some 2-to-1 calls. Let's see if he can make this one clean.
Okay, we're gonna see here if that was locked out for Mario.
I don't think that was. Still a good day.
Tyrus, on the other hand, I believe that's good. A fantastic day for him. Now he is in 3rd place in that same division. He loaded that 2.5 to just, you know, overtake Robert. So as it stands, Robert is in 4th, Tyrus is in 3rd. I believe John is going to come up in a second to try to pull in front of Tyrus. So we're seeing a lot of gamesmanship here. Derek is currently in 2nd. If he gets this, he'll stay in 2nd. It doesn't look like anyone after him is going to try to pull into 2nd, so.
Let's see what the refs say about Andy's pull. Oh. Fortunately, Andy was not fully locked out.
And David is currently in 6th place. If he makes his pull, he'll stay in 6th place, so there's not really, you know, an implication here on podium placing, but this is for 9 for 9. I mean, this is going to be a cap off a fantastic day. He's pulling. I think that's good. The judges think so as well.
And you know, sometimes even if you're not directly pulling onto podium, you're hoping that the people pulling after you might potentially miss. And so after that, he's currently in 5th with John coming up forecasted in 3rd, Steven forecasted in 1st. But if they don't get these pulls, there's a chance that David can move up. So it's not always the best choice to pull into a position. Sometimes you can just load what you know is there and then hope that you can maintain a position from that.
John, oh yeah, he lost that out. Unfortunately there, Jeffrey just lost his grip on the underhand.
After that pull though, Jeffrey currently stands 1st, but forecasted in third after some of the lifters in this flight in the junior class. So that's again gonna come down to how these final pulls go. Simon is in that 110 junior class as well, currently in third place. And Steven finished out our third attempt on that platform with a good lift. Simon locks out 305, and that is a good lift, 2-to-1 as well for him. See, after that, Simon is now in second place, forecasted to move down to fourth. But Michael coming up is currently in third, and if he gets this, he should move into second place in that same junior 110 class. And we're now full screen as we finish out these deadlifts.
This is 755 pounds, ladies and gentlemen, for junior lifter.
All right, it all comes down to this for him. Oh. That is very unfortunate miss. So it looks like after missing that, Jeffrey is currently in first with Simon in second, and Gabriel is trying to move currently from fourth into first place. He missed this on his second attempt, but if he gets this, again, this is a world record attempt. If he gets this, he will not only get that world record, but he will move into first place in that junior 110 class.
This is the last lift of the session, it seems. The crowd is going to get behind him here. This is 800 pounds.
All right, can he grind this out? Come on, Gabriel.
He's up.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like he went for broke, trying to get that 800 pound lift. Definitely a huge milestone. Taking the time to thank the spars and loaders there. Folks, that is going to do it for this session. We've seen a lot of great lifts today. It's been a great day of lifting. The primetime session is going to come up later tonight around 7 p.m. So be sure to come back to USAPL on YouTube. And make sure you tune back in. Katie with me right here. She'll be commentating tonight, so please go watch her and watch all the action. My name is Tong.
And my name is Katie. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you back here for primetime.